the forgotten village of Elmsworth. Nestled deep within the heart of the dense blackwood forest, Elmsworth had long been abandoned, its dilapidated cottages and overgrown cobblestone streets haunted by a chilling silence. Legend had it that a malevolent force had cursed the village, turning it into a haven for the undead. The story began with a curious traveler named Eamon, who, driven by tales of hidden treasures and dark secrets, ventured into the heart of the Blackwood Forest. The moonlit night was Eamon's only companion as he approached Elmsworth, his senses alert to the eerie stillness that clung to the air. The village square stood at the center of Elmsworth, surrounded by crumbling buildings that seemed to lean towards each other as if whispering their ancient secrets. Eamon's footsteps echoed in the emptiness as he explored the forsaken streets, his lantern casting long shadows on the decaying walls. As he reached the village square, a sudden chill enveloped him, and a soft, haunting melody echoed through the air. Eamon's heart quickened, and he noticed a flicker of movement at the edge of his vision. Shadows danced around him, seemingly alive with a sinister energy. The melody led Eamon to an abandoned chapel with a weathered, wooden door. Hesitant but compelled, he pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air inside was heavy with the scent of aged wood and dampness. At the altar, he saw an ancient book, bound in leather and adorned with symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. As Eamon opened the mysterious book, he discovered pages filled with arcane illustrations and cryptic text. The language was unfamiliar, yet the illustrations told the story of a vampire lord named Seraphiel, who was said to have been entombed beneath Elmsworth centuries ago. The legend spoke of a curse that bound Seraphiel to the village, his thirst for blood lingering even in death. It was said that whoever disturbed the vampire lord's resting place would unleash a darkness that would consume Elmsworth and beyond. Compelled by a mixture of fear and fascination, Eamon realized he had stumbled upon a story that went beyond mere folklore. His lantern flickered, and the shadows in the chapel seemed to writhe as if awakening from a long slumber. In that moment, Eamon faced a choice: to leave Elmsworth and the cursed secrets buried within, or to delve deeper into the mysteries that lay beneath the village, risking not only his own fate but the fate of those who dared to uncover the truth about Seraphiel and the darkness that lurked in the heart of the Blackwood Forest. Eamon's trembling hand hovered over the ancient book, caught between the allure of forbidden knowledge and the instinct to flee the cursed village. The haunting melody intensified, echoing through the chapel as if beckoning him to unravel the secrets within. As he delved deeper into the text, Eamon discovered a ritual described in the pages. It spoke of a blood pact that could awaken Seraphiel, binding the living and the undead in a sinister alliance. The air grew colder, and the shadows in the chapel seemed to pulse with an unholy energy. In a moment of realization, Eamon understood the gravity of his discovery. The curse that held Elmsworth captive was a delicate balance between the world of the living and the realm of the undead. The ancient vampire lord's power lay dormant, but the ritual offered a perilous chance to unleash a force that could reshape the very fabric of reality. With the book in hand, Eamon felt the weight of responsibility. The fate of Elmsworth rested on his shoulders, and the line between savior and harbinger of doom blurred. He could sense the presence of unseen eyes watching him, and the whispers of long-forgotten spirits seemed to murmur warnings in the chilling wind. As he contemplated his next move, the once still shadows in the chapel began to writhe with an unsettling life of their own. The haunting melody reached a crescendo, filling the air with an otherworldly resonance. Eamon's breath caught in his throat as he glimpsed fleeting figures, ethereal forms that seemed to materialize and dissipate in the flickering candlelight. A sudden gust of wind extinguished Eamon's lantern, plunging the chapel into darkness. Panic seized him, but before he could react, a soft voice echoed in the blackness. "You have trespassed into the realm of shadows, mortal. The choice is yours. Embrace the legacy or flee from the impending darkness." The voice seemed to emanate from the depths of the chapel, its source elusive and enigmatic. Eamon, shrouded in darkness, felt the weight of the unseen gaze upon him. The air thickened with anticipation as the decision hung in the balance: to succumb to the allure of forbidden power or to resist the pull of the malevolent force that lurked in the heart of Elmsworth. As Eamon grappled with his choices, the shadows whispered secrets that danced on the edge of comprehension. The next steps he took would not only seal his fate but unravel the ancient curse that bound Seraphiel and Elmsworth, setting into motion a chain of events that could either save or doom the forsaken village. In the enveloping darkness of the chapel, Eamon hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing upon him like a sinister presence. The ethereal voice spoke again, its words dripping with a beguiling charm. The blood pact awaits. Mortal, embrace the legacy, and the power of Seraphil shall be yours to command. Resist, and doom shall consume both the living and the undead. Eamon's mind raced, torn between the promise of unimaginable power and the instinctive fear that clawed at the edges of his consciousness. As he grappled with the decision, the shadows began to coil and contort, shaping themselves into indistinct forms that seemed to mirror the struggle within his soul. The ancient book in his hands pulsed with a mysterious energy, as if urging him to complete the ritual that could awaken Seraphil. The chilling melody persisted, now mingling with ghostly whispers that taunted and enticed him with the allure of forbidden knowledge. A sliver of pale moonlight filtered through a crack in the chapel's time-worn ceiling, revealing the silhouette of a figure standing at the altar. The figure, cloaked in darkness, extended a spectral hand towards Eamon, a silent invitation to partake in the unfolding destiny. As Eamon contemplated his choices, the air itself seemed to hold its breath. Unseen eyes bore into his very soul, and the temperature in the chapel dropped to an icy chill. It was as if the fabric of reality hung in limbo, awaiting the final threads of his decision to be woven. Just as Eamon reached a tentative conclusion, the ancient floorboards creaked beneath his feet, and the shadows recoiled, revealing a cryptic symbol etched into the chapel's stone floor. The symbol pulsed with an otherworldly glow, casting an eerie light that danced in rhythm with the haunting melody. At that moment, a voice from the shadows, different from the ethereal one, echoed in a raspy whisper, "Beware, mortal, for the choices you make echo through the corridors of fate. The path you tread may save or condemn not only yourself, but all who dwell in the realms of light and shadow." Eamon's heart pounded, torn between the seductive embrace of the blood pact and the ominous warning that lingered in the air. The figure at the altar remained a specter, patient and enigmatic. The ancient book seemed to vibrate with an urgency that mirrored the pulse of Elmsworth's cursed heart. As the chapel held its breath, Eamon stood at the crossroads of destiny, his choice poised to tip the delicate balance between salvation and damnation. The mysteries of Elmsworth unfolded like a dark tapestry, and the looming shadows hinted at a destiny entwined with the legacy of Seraphil, waiting for the final act to unfold in the forsaken village cloaked in the secrets of the Blackwood Forest. In that fateful moment, as the chapel held its breath and the shadows whispered their ancient secrets, Eamon made a choice that defied the expectations of both the spectral voice and the mysterious figure at the altar. With a resolute determination, he closed the ancient book, denying the blood pact that promised unimaginable power. The haunting melody abruptly ceased, and the ethereal voice spoke one final time, a mixture of disappointment and fascination lingering in its tone. "You choose the path of defiance, mortal. The consequences of your decision shall unfold in ways even shadows cannot foresee." As Eamon turned to leave the chapel, a sudden gust of wind swept through the time-worn structure, extinguishing the cryptic symbol on the floor. The shadows, once alive with malevolent energy, seemed to retreat into the corners, and the air lightened with an uncanny serenity. As he stepped back into the moonlit night of Elmsworth, the village felt different. The oppressive silence that had clung to the abandoned cottages and twisted cobblestone streets lifted, and a distant, ethereal lament echoed through the Blackwood Forest. The curse that bound Seraphil seemed to wane, its grasp on the forsaken village loosening with each passing moment. Eamon, now burdened with the knowledge of a path diverged, looked back at the chapel. The mysterious figure had dissipated into the shadows, leaving behind an enigma that lingered in the air. The ancient book, closed but not forgotten, held within its pages the potential for a future yet unwritten. As Eamon walked away from Elmsworth, he could not shake the feeling that the story of Seraphil and the cursed village was far from over. Unseen forces, both benevolent and malevolent, watched the traveler vanish into the night, leaving the Blackwood Forest to guard its secrets until the next chapter unfolded, a chapter that held the promise of unexpected twists and turns in the haunting tale of shadows and choices.